men are the ones who are responsible to take an initiative. I am saying on this set, Natalie, I want you to join with me and tell some of my conservative people that if a woman sees a man that she is attracted to, it is all right to pursue him passionately. Welcome to the New Foundation Christian Ministries B1 Marriage Ministry video podcast. I am your host, Donald McFarlane, and with me is my co-host,
Natalie Irving Mattox.
Very well. So I'm sure, let's just tell our audience a little bit about us before we continue in a very interesting discussion, Natalie.
Yes, so Bishop McFarlane is the host pastor of the New Foundation Christian Ministries located at Shop 21 Washington Plaza in Kingston, Jamaica. Bishop has been married for 30 years to Lady Marlene McFarlane, and they both have a miracle daughter, Abigail. Bishop is also a professional counselor.
What may I say of Natalie? Natalie is a corporate executive who works in conjunction with the University of Washington. And her primary role is to facilitate training for health professionals that bring them on the cutting edge. And her reach is really in the Caribbean and beyond. She's also happily married to Mark Mattox and is the mother of an adult daughter who's now married and with her husband living in Canada. Also, she is connected to the ministry in a very deep way as she serves as a director of training and counseling. And a great job, I think, Natalie, that you have been doing. So here we are to talk about a successful marriage.
Yes.
What is that? What is entailed in that?
Yes.
There are divergent views about a marriage, whether it is successful or not. Does it mean when somebody has all that, the comfort of this life, Natalie, money and cars and house and travel the world? Or it means loving, doving, even in poverty, but you are sticking together. Those are, perhaps extremes.
Yes.
But here we are to explore.
Right.
I think what is critical, though, if we may just look in on it, is for something in this context to be successful as a marriage, I view it as a building.
That's right.
And for any building to be, to withstand, it needs a good foundation.
That's right.
So I'd like for our discussion to be guided from that perspective.
Okay.
For a marriage to last, or a marriage to withstand, it needs good foundation.
That's right.
So then, how does a relationship starts that is ensured or guaranteed to be successful?
Yeah, well, the truth is there's no guarantee whether your relationship started online, offline, met her by somewhere in the country, or, traditionally people met maybe on the bus going, or even just at church, especially in our context in this country. You find that there was not so much of an access to the World Wide Web, for example, and so people met in situations where they could, just see each other every day and step by step, so they grow together. In this day and age, it's different.
All right, so let's put that in context. So we can appreciate that persons who end up in a relationship through marriage in the yesteryear would have met in a different way.
Of course.
But sometimes these persons become critical of how present-day relationships are formed. Meaning, on Facebook, you meet on dating sites, recommended by somebody. Do you have a challenge, a problem with these many ways in which people can meet their spouse and shortness of time and all that kind of stuff?
You know, this is a tough question because for me, I honestly think that because you're not used to it, it's new. And even though, 13 years my husband and I have been married, for Facebook, the internet, yes, it was there, but it still wasn't as publicized in the way it is now, especially, in our context in Jamaica, maybe in the Caribbean. So traditionally, as I said, people met by, you're taking the bus or you're driving on the road, and you see the person right there, the person is real. No, I don't want to be critical of the online platforms, the Facebook and so on, but it comes with a particular risk. That being said, though, it doesn't mean that because you met somebody on Facebook or Tinder or any of those sites that you can't have a successful marriage. So for me, it's not how you met, but what happens after you meet the person, I think, is going to be of critical importance, especially at a time like now, where it's so easy. You go online, you meet somebody, you don't know who is a criminal from who is not, you don't know who is legitimate. And so it's difficult to trust the sources, that people are meeting each other on right now. It's very difficult.
But then, okay, so if we were to say something to our viewers in terms of meeting a person that they're interested in, are we going to eliminate all these means? I hear you saying clearly it's about how you process it.
Exactly.
But and I can appreciate that you may not know what somebody brings to the table since you don't know them.
Right.
But is there a caution that I may invest so much of my time in the virtual space, building a solid relationship, but then alas, when I come to meet the person, is a complete different thing. So is that an understandable gamble that someone should take?
It's really just a gamble. And for me, if I were to meet someone on Facebook, I would want to take more of a precaution than perhaps meeting the person face to face. Because you're going to be corresponding with somebody, especially if you meet the person and it's not someone who is from your area or from even your jurisdiction, because people are meeting people wide and far, and they develop a relationship over time.
Yes.
And they process, and then before they start meeting family members, even meeting together, meeting before they even start meeting each other. So they will take some time to get to know each other, maybe from where they are. If you're living in Iceland and you're in Jamaica, you take some time on the phone to meet each other, and then I guess you start introducing each other, introducing family members. But to me, you have to to me, I think there is a space for spending time and maybe laying some critical, laying a solid foundation.
Okay.
And it's going to take a lot in terms of trust. But as you rightfully said, Bishop, you're building this relationship and you don't know who you're building it with. That is problematic. But that is where the world is heading now.
Right. Is it, in my own context, I'm paralleling now educational pursuit.
Yes.
Young people in my congregation
right.
who, unlike my time, when you're thinking about study, it revolves around your small world. Some have clearly a desire, intent, pursued with passion. They want to study in some remote places of the world. When I say remote, I mean far removed from our local setting, that growing up you never did that. What is so wrong if somebody were to come to you, and perhaps you may want to be the person asking me, but I'm asking you, who comes to you and has an interest in marrying somebody from Egypt?
Without knowing the person?
Well, the marriage will not take place before knowing, but their mind, they just like somebody from that part of the world, or perhaps they need somebody from Europe, or what is your word to these novel thinking young people who want that kind of relationship?
I mean, the truth is, Bishop, people are exploring.
Yes.
I mean, you're asking somebody who is a little bit on the conservative side as well.
I saw your expression.
Right, because,
yes.
I mean, but the truth is, this is where the world is going. The young people are meeting people far and wide,
yes,
from different cultures, from different background, so it's not even just geographics at play here. You look, there's a lot at play. Culture, everything is at play. Religion is at stake here. So I think people just need to be more mindful of these things, yes, and understand that if you're going to take somebody from outside of a jurisdiction that you're not used to, that you're not comfortable with, you weren't not even brought up in that country, then it's going to take more on your part to understand the background of that person, yes, understand their values, their family values. Yes. You're going to have to set some critical foundation. What's their religion? Yes. Are you willing to give up what your religious beliefs? So a lot will be at stake here for these young people, and these are some of the things that they will have to pay attention to.
No doubt.
And there's going to have to be a lot of give and take here.
No doubt. What I think still we want to set right, perhaps not everybody certainly continue to have this difficulty, but the days are far gone when we say that men are the ones who are responsible to take an initiative. I am saying on this set, Natalie, I want you to join with me and tell some of my conservative people that if a woman sees a man,
yes,
that she is attracted to, it is all right to pursue him passionately.
Of course, certainly.
You think the bishop is right on this occasion?
I think the bishop is right in this occasion.
Yes.
And the truth is this.
Yes.
I mean, as I said, I got married 13 years ago. It's not far from now.
Yes.
But I believe in that from that time.
What do you mean
No, because I think I would have been the instigator in my relationship.
You pursued Mark?
To some extent, more than he did, because Mark is extremely conservative.
Really?
So I remember when we met, so we knew each other from, both of us, the activities that we used to do. So I used to be, at the time, even though I was in church, I used to like the modeling and so on, and Mark used to like bodybuilding. So we kind of knew of each other from that time.
So as a bodybuilder meeting the modeler.
No, right. I was like Miss Jamaica Bikini Fitness, Miss Jamaica Fitness, right. So I entered all of those, and I used to do very well in those competitions. So we both had that interest. However, we did not really know each other in the sense that we never really spent any time knowing each other. I mean, I may have seen him on stage, same here, but we've never really spoken to each other at that time. It was after when I actually kind of was pulling back from these competitions. That's when I really met Mark close to my neighborhood. And, we sparked a conversation about bodybuilding, fitness, and so on. And that was how it started. But he did not approach me for a number of relationships. So I would say I pursued him in the fact that I gave him a number and said, call me. Yes, because he was very shy. My husband is extremely conservative, very, very shy.
Yeah.
So he didn't approach me. I gave him the number, and we started calling each other from there.
Okay.
And we started just getting to know each other. So, and I think our friendship really blossomed out of us just having similar interests.
Okay. So we are making it then abundantly clear that the pursuit of a relationship is not about any particular gender.
It's not about...
See what you want and you go for it.
Right. And I think we need to... I think especially... I find a lot of the women, especially women who I know, they're still from that backdrop where they feel like a man needs to pursue a woman or vice versa. I don't think it should be dependent on that. I'm not saying you must go hold the man now and say, oh, yes, I want to have a relationship. But I think a woman should understand if somebody is maybe a shy guy, or and must know if the guy might even like you,
But
because you may want to know if him like you first too.
in fairness to it, yeah, I can appreciate that. But a younger generation would tell you that they don't have that problem. They are the
Instigator, no?
yes. I mean, it's
Right.
neither here nor there.
Which is good,
know.
actually.
But what we want to concretize is that foundation is critical.
That is right.
And in foundation, it must not rest with what you see,
Right.
but you need to know values.
Exactly.
If there are shared values.
Yes.
There's a place for counseling,
There
wouldn't you
is.
say? Premarital counseling.
That's right.
To bring to the fore the differences, likes and dislikes, and to see if persons are willing to make the necessary adjustments going
Yes.
forward.
Yes.
Yeah. So where's a role for some personal advisor, mentor?
That's right.
To
come in. Yes.
Right. For
Yes.
example, practically speaking, one of the questions that I ask every couple that I, comes towards marriage, why is it that you want to marry to this person and not another?
Yes.
So this is a question. Why do you want to marry this person and not another person?
Yeah, that's a very good question, Bishop. That's true. What is it about this particular person? Yeah. That's
Something needs to resonate.
Yes.
It could start from how you look,
Exactly.
your shape. All right, men are looking at shape, your smile, how attractive you are, and that.
Right.
What is it that women are looking for?
I think when you
Six
look
pack,
at
8-pack.
that too, I think we're physical beings. And I think for most relationships, even though we don't want to say it, a lot of relationships start with the physical. People may look at somebody who they are attracted to in many ways than one. And some women will say that they want a man who is established, who is very established.
What does that mean?
In a good job, maybe has a car, as a house. So women want a level of security when they are looking for a husband.
But sorry to interject there, but in interacting with a number of single women who are professional in their own rights, I am getting the distinct feeling, clear response even, that they don't have the time to build any foundation, Marlene and I, for example, we started with nothing. Yes?
Right.
And
I too,
yeah. But this time is getting short. They say they don't want to build.
Yes.
I've
heard it. Yeah, a lot of women, they'll tell you that they don't want to build with anybody. They are looking for someone who has already made it. Because they feel like, especially it depends on the age of the person. I mean, I know a lot of young people may say the same thing, but I find that the older you get is probably the least likely you're going to want to be building with somebody.
Oh, I see.
Because we started young. In our 20s. Same thing with you. So you're in a better position to build together. A woman who is starting at 40, meeting a man at 40 in her 40s or 50s, then they probably will be looking at somebody who is already established because they find that they don't have enough time. But are those really good reasons, though, Bishop, to want to establish a marriage or a relationship with somebody? Is that a good reason? And we need to perhaps go back to look at the foundation questions that we were posing before.
Right. Well, truth is that there are varying reasons why people want to get involved with somebody, and we may not be able to define and to capture the whole extent of what should be involved for individuals. But I think what is very important is to ensure that it is based on genuine affection.
Yes.
Just to quickly mention, again, referencing myself, that one of the things I was sure about Marlene, there were many options clearly like everybody had, but whereas other girls were interested, I could clearly tell. But Marlene, unlike all of them, I had a unwavering certainty that she really loved me. And that was what did it for me.
Yes.
Frankly.
Yes.
I know I could trust her. So love needs a form.
Yes.
Part of that foundation.
Yes.
It may grow over time,
Yes.
but it must have its ingredients in the foundation
Right,
stages.
right.
Would you not say?
Yes. Yes, and I agree with you. And I mean, I could also share a similar experience in with Mark and I. We, you know, for us, it wasn't so much rushing into a relationship. You know, I think we developed a strong friendship. We started it right. One of the things I'm happy for is that, you know, we decided to pull ourselves back from some of the things that perhaps young people would want to get involved in. You know, we didn't even so much date. We spent more time just talking, because I went through a lot as a teenager, and so for Mark and I spent a lot of my time talking to Mark about those issues that were affecting me, and these were some deep-rooted issues, you know, and for my husband too. For him, well, not my husband at the time, but for a guy who is trying to check you at the time, coming by just to listen to your sad stories, you know, stories telling him, oh yes, you know, you were molested, oh you had these issues to deal with, oh you never had this. That to me was where I recognized that Mark liked the person. He was in love with the person and not so much about my looks or shape, or at the time, as I said to you, you know, he knew me from doing these things, so he kind of, you know,
he looked beyond
that.
So naturally,
but for him, it was getting to know what, you know, I think Mark dug deep into some of my deep-rooted issues that were affecting me, and he saw beyond those, and he knew that he had to deal with them, and they were going to come at him, but we were willing to talk them through. And so we spent a lot of our time getting to know each other and trying to deal with some of those deep-rooted issues.
Well, what you're touching on clearly is openness in a relationship, and it begs the question, when do you become open?
Yes.
At the initial stage and run the risk of losing your prospect,
right,
or as time unfolds?
Yes.
But as we wrap it, Natalie,
yes,
you were open to Mark. You are that comfortable to speak about the very downside of your kind of life on this platform here?
Even on this platform, I mean, I'm not afraid to talk, Bishop.
Look at that.
That's what I said. I want to keep it real.
We'll have to hold it at this point here.
Yes.
As we invite you to come and join with us another time on the riveting conversation. By the way, we'll have persons who join us from time to time and to share their views as we speak to the issue of B1 marriage. I am your host, Donald McFarlane, and I want to thank our sponsor, Mattox Health and Fitness, for keeping us alive on the air in this way. Our producer behind the scene, George Malcolm Walker, ever hard working there.
That's Natalie. Right. Yes, Jordan. Thank you so much, Bishop. I'm Natalie Irving Mattox, your co-host. We invite our viewers to share their comments with us on all our social media platforms. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at New Foundation Christian Ministries. Follow us on Instagram at NFCM Official and on Facebook at New Foundation Christian Ministries. Thank you. Goodbye.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.